Hello guys, good evening. This is FTS once again. I am not a financial advisor, neither do I give financial advice. This video is for educational purpose only. And as you know, past profit do not guarantee future results. The forex market is volatile. As you take your trades, apply risk management. All right, so today I'm going into fundamental analysis, and on tonight I'm going to teach on uh, fundamental analysis versus technical analysis, right? So this class will likely give us a head start of what is fundamental analysis and what is technical analysis, and you know why fundamental analysis is an edge, and as a retail trader what you need to know about fundamental analysis, and why you should pay more attention to fundamental analysis, because many retail traders, they don't have time to undergo fundamental analysis or not even know how to start. But with this video, at least you know what it is and how to go about it, and why is fundamental analysis better than technical analysis, and what you should know and how I do my trading, right? Yeah, so let's proceed. All right. I started by saying what is fundamental analysis, right? So fundamental analysis as sorry, let me push something up. Fundamental analysis is the process of evaluating the true worth of a financial asset, such as currency, stock, or commodity, by analyzing the economic, financial, and other qualitative and quantitative factors, right? So the goal is to determine whether the asset is undervalued or overvalued based on these factors, right? For currencies, fundamental analysis is typically focused on one key economic indicators, right? Yeah, they include GDP, inflation, employment data, then interest rate, right? And central bank policies, Federal Reserve rate decisions, then political events and global development like geopolitical crisis, like trade wars, election, pandemics, and all of that, right? So market sentiment, right? So these are the things we focus more on when we talk about fundamental analysis on forex market. These are the things we talk about more, right? Yeah. Then let's proceed. Uh, why is fundamental analysis more important than technical analysis, right? This is a question that some persons are asking me, right? They say, okay, guy, you trade fundamental analysis, Mr. Festus, you trade fundamental analysis. Why should one focus more on fundamental analysis? Then uh, I want to do it this way by telling you that fundamental analysis is important because it helps traders understand the underlying economic, political, and financial factors that influence the value of a currency. All I take analysis that tells us more on price pattern and price action, how what really plays out. But for the meta analysis, is focused more on what is behind the chart, what drives what is present on that chart. You understand? So for the mental analysis, we give you the reason why a chart or a particular market is bullish or bearish, the reason behind it, not just price versus time that is just printed on the chart. No, it tells us the reason behind why a market is buying or why a market is selling, right? So why is fundamental analysis is key? One, long-term trends and market sentiment. See, fundamental analysis provide a deeper understanding of long-term trends and the underlying forces driving, the particular price of a particular commodity. Let's say, for instance, there's the reason why the dollar is buying at the particular moment, right? If you look at the technical analysis, the weekly market review I did, I showed us the reason why the dollar is buying, right? Number one, I said because of the job data from NFP that happened on Friday, right? Yeah, over 1,400, 147,000 jobs were added to the United States, right? So that's one key factor. Number two, I talked about the interest rate. So because of the job data, so they have no reason to, to cut rates in the next rate meeting. So the Federal Reserve have priced in for rate cut for I think the last quarter of the year, right? So these are the reasons. These are some of the reasons why the dollar is pricing, why the dollar is buying. You understand? Then also, President Trump tariff talks, will likely resume. So as of today, he shifted the tariff talk to first week of August, right? Yeah, though it was supposed to end on the 9th of this month, but I think he made adjustment, right? Yeah. So as the tariff talk are coming again, right? Yeah, it will likely drive the dollar to the upside, right? So these are some of the reasons why the dollar is bullish at the moment, right? I think I showed us from the chart the analysis I did. Let me take us back uh, just a minute. Okay, let me show us the chart. The dollar index I showed us on Monday when we started the analysis, right? And I gave us the reason why the greenback is going on price. So you can see the analysis we had after the fundamental reasons, then also gave us the technical reasons because we had a inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? here and price, and this is the neck part, the neck of it, and immediately price broke it, retested, and price would likely go all the way to the upside, right? So because of fundamental analysis, there's a reason behind the movement of this price dollar to dollar gaining strength and why dollar should go up to this high, right? Yeah. So and this is the technical reason behind it. So I gave us fundamental reason, then I also showed us the reason why dollar should gain strength, right? Yeah. So that is what I was trying to talk about. Okay. Yeah, so like what we have, it says it said for example, a country with strong economic growth and rising interest rates may have a stronger currency, right, in long run, regardless of short-term technical movement, right? So even though sometimes we have pullbacks when we have a from long-term analysis, right? We saw that okay, the currency is supposed to be on a bullish bias, but due to pullbacks and all of that, right? Due to technical retracement and all of that, right? We will not sell that particular currency. We wait for a very good pullback, then we can enter the currency for a buy, right? So that is what I was trying to talk about here. Then number two, understanding the big picture. Is a technical analysis focus on price pattern and historical data. Why fundamental analysis gives you an understanding of the reason behind price movement, right? You know, the beautiful thing about fundamental analysis is that it gives you the reason why price is moving in a particular direction. As a trader, this is what you should pay attention to. Before, as fundamental traders, myself and my community, before we take any trade, we must ask ourselves, what is the fundamental reasons why we are buying this particular currency, or why are we selling this particular currency? Why are we buying gold? Why are we selling gold? Why are we buying Bitcoin? Why are we selling the dollar, right? Why are we buying, Australian dollar? Why are we buying a particular asset or commodity? There ought to be a fundamental reason behind it. If there's no fundamental reason behind it, sometimes we don't trade that particular currency pair, right? So there has to be a fundamental reason behind it, right? So without that fundamental reason, our technical analysis might not really go well, right? We might not be different from the rest retail traders because institutions what really determine how they trade is the fundamental reason behind a particular currency pair or behind a particular asset, right? So that is what really drives. So fundamental analysis gives you a bigger picture, right? What is the reason behind a particular price move? So without fundamental analysis drivers, technical analysis indicators can sometimes provide false signal. This is true, right? You know, this is one of the reasons why most of the time retail traders don't do well in the market because they don't understand the fundamental reasons behind a particular price movement, right? Because if they do, they won't just take trades anyhow. That's why I don't really pay much attention to technical analysis, right? I pay more attention to fundamental because if I can understand the fundamental bias of a particular currency pair, entry with technical analysis becomes secondary. The third point is this: market shocks and news events, right? Market moving events like central banks announcements, geopolitical tensions, and economic report can drastically shift market sentiment. That's true. Can drastically shift market sentiment and price. Fundamental analysis helps you to anticipate and react to these events barely sorry, before they show up on the chart. When this I think 2 years ago, when Israel and Palestine, they started their war. When Gaza, right, Hamas attacked Israel. We saw that it was a geopolitical crisis, and what we actually did was that because of that, right, there was a scarce, there was a high demand for gold because investors, in the Middle East, right? They started buying into safe haven currency and safe haven asset like gold. They bought JPY, they bought CHF, and they bought United States dollar, right? Because there was geopolitical tension in the Middle East, and because of that, right, investors switched into risk off market sentiment, right? No, risk off market commodities like safe haven currencies, right? Yeah, and because of that, gold went up, the dollar went up, JPY went up, and CHF went up. Why risk on asset like Aussie, Kiwi, Canadian dollar, right? They started going down because at that time investors were not willing to invest, right? They were trying to safeguard their current their capital by buying into safe haven currencies and commodity like gold, right? So because of this event, as a fundamental trader, if you have this understanding, you won't just trade anyhow. So and in the time of fear in the market, whatever there's fear in the market, right? There's a currency pair you should avoid, and there's a currency pair you should trade. So with this understanding, you won't just trade anyhow. You understand when you know when these things are important for us to trade in the market, right? So that's one of the beauty of fundamental analysis. Now look at this. Fundamental analysis is not hyper. Now let me say this, right? I tell you, 80% of trade. Let me say 90% of traders, they think iPad news is all there is to fundamental analysis. That is what they think. Honestly, I've seen a lot of persons, they think iPad news is all it is to fundamental analysis, right? And the way I put it is, I normally say something like this, that iPad news is part of fundamental analysis, but is not basically what is fundamental analysis. You understand? Because fundamental analysis is deep, is vast. While hypernews is just the aftermath of what has happened, right? Or what we will likely happen. Because sometimes in some events when we have sometimes let me say Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will likely give uh, an insight that okay, come September, October, right? They will likely hike rates. That is when they will likely hike. No, sorry, that's all they will likely cut rate, right? Because of that, investors will price in for a bullish dollar before that time, right? So when when that day has finally come, right? The market will just be bullish, or on that day, the market will just do a pullback on that particular day. So that it will just trick retail traders to thinking that the market would likely sell, not knowing that market is doing a pullback so that it will continue the trend it has started before 3 months when Powell gave that information. You understand, right? So fundamental analysis is not iPad news. iPad news is just an aftermath or a representative on the chart that okay, this news will likely happen. You understand? Like today, Reserve Bank of Australia, you know, they had they had their rate today. They did not hike rate, they did not cut rate today. They had their rate, and because of that, right? There is I think the Australian dollar gained strength a little bit. You understand, right? So there's a reason why it went up, right? There's a reason why it went up. Before this time, they have a cutting rate, their interest rate prior to this time was, I think, was like 4.5%. Now, they cut until it was now 3.8, 3.85, right? So investors are very pricing for a rate cut. The next thing we saw today, we were surprised that, the head rate now, right? They did not cut rate today. You understand? So there's a reason behind it, and the and this impact on this Australian dollar is not going to be on only today. There's a long-term impact and a short-term impact. So the short-term impact was that today it went up, it went bullish. You understand? But the long-term impact is that it might not in their next rate meeting they would likely cut rate. You understand? So there's a long-term impact, there's a short-term impact. So technical analysis will at least show you from the chart, okay, there's a short-term impact of this news on Aussie dollar, right? Yeah, there's a short-term impact. So if you look at Aussie dollar USD, you can see this is the short-term impact. Look at it, right? Just the 15 minutes time frame when the news happened, right? Yeah, you can see, right? The short-term impact. But because of the strength of the dollar, right, you saw that the market didn't go that far. It will still come down again. So this is the beauty of, right, of fundamental analysis. You don't just trade because, okay, the new sale, it came out as based on market expectations, then, okay, let's keep buying it. No, there's a reason why it has a long-term impact, a short-term impact. You understand? Now, one thing fundamental analysis does is that why fundamental analysis is not news, right? Market trend and market sentiment, and okay, so fundamental analysis can act as it provide market trends, right? Why technical? Sorry, why the news itself? Why hyper news is like a catalyst to that market sentiment or market trend, right? For instance, this week we had news, right, from Friday that the job data for the United States came out above market expectations, and right, 147,000 jobs were added to the United States economy, right? So we saw the news that happened that day. It was all bullish for the dollar, right? Yeah, we saw the news that happened. It was all bullish for the dollar on that Friday. If you look at the dollar index, right, it was bullish. It was all bullish that Friday. Okay, I think this is still candle. Let's check it out. I'm sorry, let me go to 12 hours time first so I can look for it. Okay, this is the candle, right? Yeah, it was bullish, right? Yeah, it was bullish, and that triggered the bullish move, right? That triggered the bullish move for the dollar. You can see, right, that triggered the bullish move for the dollar, right? So it was a catalyst that triggered the bullish market sentiment for the dollar, right? Yeah, after that move, the dollar started gaining strength because they are not in a hurry to cut interest rates anymore, right? So they will likely not cut rate the next rate meeting that will likely happen at the end of this month, right? You can see the beauty. And one other thing is that in iPad news, there are a lot of market volatility. The market volatility can be deceptive. The market can spike to the top, but it's going to be bearish long term. So as a fundamental trader, when you can read the reason behind why the market is going to fall, but it's spiking bullish, it's just gathering what liquidity. So you wait for it until you get to a particular key level, right? A key resistance level or a key bearish order block, then you can start selling from there. So this is the beauty why one of the beauties of fundamental analysis. Understanding it that fundamental analysis is not news is what is key. As a trader, you must understand this. Now, what are the benefits of trading fundamental analysis? I highlighted four benefits here, right? So I'm just trying to tell us what it is, right? It's fundamental analysis versus technical analysis, right? What nobody will likely tell you in the market. But as a trader, if you have this understanding, you will know the benefits, why you should focus more on fundamental analysis, right? These are the reasons why I focus more on fundamental. Since I started trading in 2018, right? I've been trading technical analysis and I did a course on a BTM and ICT, right? Yeah, but hence for I think 3 years ago, I started trading fundamental analysis, and I tell you, the more I trade it, the more I get better, the more I have a better understanding what drives price, what is really moving price, and why price is moving in a particular direction, right? Number one, it says informed decision making by understanding key indicators like inflation, unemployment data, GDP, which is economic growth. You can make more informed and confident trading decision. You understand, right? If you look at the G8 currency right now, it is only Japanese yen that is hiking rate. The rest are just cutting rate. They are still on their cutting cycle. Why Japanese yen is started hiking rate, I think early January last year, you understand, and they are on the hiking cycle, so they will keep hiking rate, right? So in terms of interest rate differentials, right? when I have understanding of interest rate differentials, okay, that means when I compare interest rate between JPY and United States dollar and the greenback, JPY against the Kiwi dollar, JPY against the Loonie, JPY against Aussie, right? When I compare them, I know which particular currency to buy because they are all cutting rate while JPY is hiking rate. So when I talk about interest rate differentials, right, I will know that JPY should buy. Nevertheless, right, that does not mean JPY should be bullish all the time. No, right? There are some times where the Bank of Japan chairman Kazuo whether will likely give the reason why, okay, this time we are not going to hike rate. Well, let's hold rate for some time. And because of that, the yen will start losing strength again. You understand? So when you have a better understanding of fundamental analysis, it's going to give you a better decision making, right, ability as you take your trades. Then number two is a high probability of success in long-term trading. Now, traders who understand fundamental health of a particular currency or asset are better positioned for long-term trading success. You know, let me say this, myself and my community, we are aware that before January last year, right? JPY has been on negative interest rates. You understand, right? So because of that, investors go to Japan, they borrow money at 0% interest rate and they bring it to United States, to come and invest. When you invest in the United States, for instance, you have interest rate of 5% or 4.5%, right? So because of that, right, the US JPY has been on a long bullish trend. GBP JPY has been on a long bullish trend. Every pair against JPY has been on a bullish trend because, right, when we talk about as we talk about economic divergence, right? Uh, the Japanese yen economically is not doing well because uh yeah, because the interest rate is negative 0.1. So you cannot go and invest there. You cannot go and invest there as an investor. Because if you invest your money in Japan, you are going to, you will not make money because there's negative interest rate. But when you invest your money in, let me say, in the UK, in the US, in Canada, right, in Australia, in New Zealand, right, compared to Japan, you will likely make money. That's why investors are trooping to other countries. But in the times of risk of risk risk of market sentiment, right? When there's geopolitical crisis, Japanese yen will likely gain strength because of what safe haven status or safe haven commodity. These are the times where Japanese yen will likely gain strength, right? So for the past 21 years, Japanese yen has not been doing well fundamentally or technically, right? I think if I can show us so that you understand what I'm trying to talk about. Let's go to monthly time frame. You can see, look at monthly time frame. You can see, right? Let me say, this is just 2020, right? This is just 2020. You can see on the negative trend because of that terminology is called carry trade, normal carry trade, where investors take money from a lower an economy that gives lower interest rate and go to invest it in an economy that have a better or high interest rate, right? So the carry trade has been an advantage, to other countries against the Japanese yen, right? Until January last year when they started hiking rate from negative zero point 0.1, they went to zero point 0.1, right? Then they went to zero point 0.2, now they're on 0.5. So in their next rate meeting, they might likely hike to 1%. Or yeah, and once they do that, I tell you, momentum will shift back to Japanese yen on a bullish spree once more. So having this understanding, you know what to do as a trader, right? Now look at this. Three, it says risk management, right? Risk management is money by staying on top of news, central bank policies, and global economic conditions. Traders can make their risk exposure more effective and avoid sudden price movement, movement driven by unexpected news event. Good. What does this mean? It means you know already that um now, on a long term, the United States dollar is bearish. But on a short term, it's bullish. That was what I said on Friday, right? Yeah, until price get to a particular level, then we start selling United States dollar again, right? So because of that, if there's any spike in the opposite direction, right? I understand, okay, on that's going to be on a short-term basis. But on a long term, United States is what is on a bearish trend. Yeah, the dollar is bearish, right? Yeah, and we know why it is bearish. We know why it is bearish because of the tariff. You can see, right? Because of the tariff. This tariff started when Trump became president. You can see, right? When Trump became president, that's when investors pricing for what? A bearish dollar. This is January. It was one in January 2020, is it 20th or so? Then January 23rd, he made the pronouncement of trying to introduce tariff. And in the month of March, he implemented it and, he gave them 3 months, I think 3 months and that 3 months elapsed this month. Then he gave them a grace of 1 month again. You understand? So we understand all of this. That's why dollar has been bearish. You understand? But on a short term, because of you know, uh because of the job report and all of that, the dollar might retest this play before coming. Now you understand why I'm buying the dollar for the short term. Then when it gets here again, we'll try to short the dollar again. You understand? So that's just the reason behind movement of the dollar, right? So with this, we know already. So we now to adjust our risk and all of that. Then the photo says enhance market insight. Understanding factors, understanding factors like interest rate differentials, fiscal policies, and geopolitical crisis or events provide a broader market perspective, improving your ability to forecast potential moves. Exactly, right? Everybody in my trading community understand what fundamental analysis and how to approach it, right? So at least it has given us a better insight of on how the market is moving and how we should approach the market, right? Yeah, then look at this. Next one says how to combine fundamental and technical analysis. See, this is one of the important things you should do as a trader. As a trader, right? I fancy the combination of fundamental, which is what macroeconomics and technical analysis, right? This is the best thing you should do, right? I tell you, but most retail traders they don't even trade fundamental analysis, so they don't even know it. So they only trade technical analysis. You understand? I've been saying that most retail traders sure they have been lucky. We have been lucky because before now we don't even consider trading fundamental analysis. We can take a cue from the COVID-19, what happened, right? We can take a cue from the COVID, what happened, and we saw how COVID, affected the United States, affected the whole the world, right? In I think that's 2020. COVID-19, let's go to 20. Let's go to 20. We'll see that. Let me see USDJPY. Do that 2020. Just a minute. Let me see if I can. All right, almost there. Let me see. Just let me. All right, so this is COVID-19 2020, right? Yeah, this is 2020, and when the pandemic happened, and we saw the impact of what GPP, right? Because of safe haven status, so investors started buying USD. They bought Japanese yen, they bought Swiss franc, and they also bought gold, right? And they started selling GBP, Euro, Aussie, Kiwi, and Canadian dollar because at that time, right, every investor was they were trying to safeguard their capital, and this was the fall, right? Immediately they had breakthrough in terms of vaccine and all of that, right? Right, the risky assets started losing momentum, right? Then, sorry, the safe haven currency they started losing momentum, while the risky assets started picking up, and that was how COVID-19 was conquered, right? We saw the movement of, when the vaccine came up, right? Yeah, the vaccine when we heard that started giving vaccines and their vaccines and their safety measures and all of that, right? So the whole market picked up again, right? So this is the impact of the the COVID, right? Yeah, this is 2020. You can see, right, the impact of the COVID because of the stay home status, right? So this understanding, right, has given investors giving traders in the market how they should undertake fundamental analysis. So you can see, say fundamental analysis for long-term buyers. You understand? So when you understand fundamental analysis, right, it gives you a sense of where the market is going, right? Then a technical analysis for entry and a technical analysis for entry and exit, right? Now look at this. Fundamental analysis gives you the bigger picture, right? Sorry, gives you the bigger picture view. And technical analysis helps you time your entry and exit, right? The next level is I will explain better. For example, the if fundamental analysis shows a bullish outlook for United States dollar due to rising interest rates, right? You can use technical analysis to find key support levels or chart patterns that indicates, indicate the right time to buy dollar, right? Like I've showed us already on Fridays when we did the analysis for, sorry, on Monday when I did the analysis for uh, the USD, right? Yeah. So immediately I know that the dollar will buy in the short term, right? Then I did this analysis that this inverted head and shoulder that supports technical analysis that supports what I was trying to say. You understand, right? So, and if you look at the USJPY, right, you can see this is also inverted head and shoulders, right? You can see, and that is it. This is technically market is just playing out like crazy, right? This is inverted head and shoulders, right? Yeah, you can use this place and broke down this is the neck regional. You can see price going up. You can see. So this is since we know that it's bullish, right? So all we have to do is that we should look for technical or chart patterns that are in line with the fundamental bias or the bias of from the fundamental analysis. You understand, right? So we use fundamental analysis for long-term bias, right? Then we use technical for entry and exit. So when it gets to a particular resistance or level, then we can easily take profit. You understand? Confirm fundamental signal with technical analysis. I just talked about it, right? Now, see if fundamental analysis suggests a bullish trend, let's say for instance, because of the rise in GDP or interest rate, or rising due to economic divergence or interest rate differentials, right? I would likely use technical analysis, in line with that, to find a strong entry point or on a pullback or breakout. That is when this breakout, pullback, and all of that. This is where they now come in. Since you've known, the fundamental reason why a particular currency pair is going in a particular direction, then you use chart patterns, you use pullbacks, you use breakout, and all of that, to drive price in that direction, right? I believe we now get the beauty of fundamental analysis. Why fundamental analysis is key, right? The monitor market sentiment. Technical analysis can reveal overbought or oversold conditions, which can indicate potential reversal. Fundamental analysis ensures that you are not, going against the long-term economic trends while making no decisions, right? It shows us that despite, let's say let's say for instance, the dollar is bullish, right? We will not be selling despite the market is going down. We'll wait for price to get to a particular support level or bullish order block or a breaker block or whatsoever or demand and supply zone you're using or a level where we can buy in line with the fundamental analysis. Now look at this. Shocking. This might surprise most of us, right? No technical analysis is superior to the other. I know most of us will be amazed why I made this kind of statement, right? Yeah. Then number two, all technical analysis have their edge, right? And they are all good. I've said to my student and in my Telegram channel before that, see, the moment I came to understand what fundamental analysis is, that is where I stopped chasing technical analysis. No, I stopped it because fundamental analysis is key. You need fundamental analysis to determine where price is going. Then you use any technical analysis for entry, right? Now look at this. Let me show us. I will show us three charts, three various market analysis now using different analysis. Now look at this. We all know that the dollar is bullish at the moment, right? So because of that, because dollar is bullish, right? USDJPY should be bullish. USDH should be bullish. USD cash should be bullish, right? Why Euro USD should be bearish? NZD USD should be bearish. GBP USD should be bearish, right? All these USD should be bearish because the dollar is bullish and here the dollar is on the cold side. Dollar is on the cold side here. Just a minute. Let me pick this up. Right, the dollars on the cold side here, dollars on the cold side here, yeah, dollars on the base side. You understand? So because of that, now let me show us something again. So when I start at the dollars bullish, so this is pure SMC setup, right? It's pure SMC. We have to have character, break of market structure, and all of that, other blocks, breaker block, and all of that, right? Now let me show us from another perspective, right? Just a minute. Let me show us again. Now, I will show us from, let me show us from here. This is BTMM, my normal BTM and ICT strategy that I normally use, right? So like what I said, right? All I have to do is that I have to determine the bias using fundamental analysis. Then I enter use technical analysis. I know GBP is bearish. GBP has been going down. Now look at this. This is beta ICT. Now, if you have gone through the beta ICT training I posted on YouTube, right, you will understand better. Now, right, this is called within the range. Within the range is when when price is between yesterday's high and yesterday's low, right? It's not outside of yesterday's high and outside of yesterday's low, right? Price is not outside of the range, right? So how do? You use P retracement, right? You pick swing high to swing low, right? So this is the latest swing, right? Yeah, and if you look at latest swing, price is let me stretch very well. Look at our confirmation for entry. Now, price at OT, look at it, ultimate entry levels at 78.9 retracement level. At this is where price is, right? And price tested the 800 EMAs, right? I look at it. TDI confirmation is what divergence. You understand, right? So wait for price to trade below this, then we enter for entry. And if you look at what price did here, just a minute. Let me show us for me. Look at here, right? Let's take from here. This is 112 pips, right? Almost 115 pips, right? Now let's look at Euro USD again. You can see, right? Today being Tuesday, we did the range, right? Price didn't go outside. And if you take here, swing high to swing low, we get our price at OT level. Look at the OT here again. And how many pips did price do, right? It's almost 70 pips, right? Yeah. Then that is one. This is one strategy, right? And to tell you that no technical analysis is superior to the other, but they all have their edges. Now look at this again. Look at this again. Let me just show us something. Then look at this again. You'll be amazed. This is uh harmonic trading, harmonic pattern, right? Yeah, look at it. Look at this is Euro USD. Exactly. Now, since I know that Euro USD is going to be bearish, and I have this and I saw this analysis, right? This is a cipher, right? This is a cipher and this is Euro USD. Same Euro USD BTM gave us 71 pips. It's still the same, right? Yeah. So since I saw that, right, I should do what I should try to sell that, right? For Euro USD, it's a good trade, right? For NZD USD is also a good setup, right? And price did well with that, right? Look at it from here, right? This is almost 45 pips, right? So you can see that this, look at this one too. This one is sharp, right? Yeah. Let's see how many pips for gold. It gave us over 584 pips for gold, right? Yeah. You can see, right? You can see that all of them are bearish, right? Then let's look at normal support and resistance. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the entry from here. This is Euro USD, right? Look at it. Look at the price at the resistance, and then at this oscillator MBFS timing. You can see the entry from here, and you're right. Look at it. Entry at this candle, right? This is some sunny pips. Now let's look at some of that. Okay, let's look at some of that. Look at the GBP USD, right? Yeah, divergence and all the trade just went well as it is, right? So someone that is trading support and resistance, also that is trading harmonic pattern, also that is trading BTMM, right? Also that is trading SMC from here. Someone that's trading SMC, Euro US, someone that's trading SMC. They all have results, right? They all have results. Go to SMC, they all have results. Or if you're trading Bollinger Bands, you have results. That's why I said no tech analysis is better than the other. They are all the same, right? Just that they have their edge. There's when to use them. You understand, right? Yeah. So no tech analysis is better than the other. All the same. They're all good and the same. Just that you don't know the reason behind why a particular price is moving at a particular time in a particular direction. That is why fundamental analysis is key. As for me, how do I trade? I don't trade technical trend. I trade fundamental trend. Simple as that. All I have to do is that once I determine the trend of the market using fundamental analysis, then I use technical analysis for entry on M15 due to what? Easy liquidity grab on lower time frame. Yeah. The lower the time frame, to an extent, like you can easily spot liquidity there. But liquidity are more on the higher time frame. But before price will move on higher time frame, on lower time frame, it has moved. But the most important thing is that understand where market is going with fundamental analysis. That is what I'm trying to talk about. Understand where price is going using fundamental analysis. That is what I am trying to say. So once you can understand price market like this, I tell you, you have no cause for alarm. You understand, right? Yeah. Now look at this. I'm almost done. Just 2 months left, we are done. What to look out for when trading fundamental analysis? Number one, key economic indicators like GDP, unemployment, CPI. That's inflation, right? Yes, that's inflation, right? Then the overall performance of the economy, right? You must put this into perspective. That's why every morning, what we do is that, we go to the chart, we look at this hypothesis and all of that. Okay, though we have the underlying trend using interest rate differentials or interest rate inflation and all of that, we know where market is going. Then, we try to see if there will be short-term or change in market sentiment at a particular time, right? Then number two, what look out for what interest rates. See, the whole forex market is tied to interest rates. Let me tell you that the whole market primarily tries to interest rate. You said that a particular economy is cutting rate or they're hiking rate, and they use interest rates to control inflation. When inflation is high, they try to hike interest rate. When inflation is low, they try to cut rate. And when they are cutting rate, they are devaluing the currency. When they're hiking rate, what? They are what? They are the currency will likely do well, and investor will likely troop into that currency. So if you understand all of this, trading becomes easy. You understand? And when they're holding rates, we know what's up. You understand? Then in terms of geopolitics, you can tell you can tell when there is geopolitics, how it affects risk on and risk off market sentiment, right? Yeah, how it affects risk on and risk off market sentiment, safe haven and investment currencies and all of that, right? So when there's and during risk on market sentiment, you know, like Aussie, Kiwi, Canadian dollar, they do well. During risk off market sentiment, they do the same. So I'll just try to talk about this, right? So due to politics, where there's war, there's pandemics and all of that, right? So understanding fundamental analysis is key to know how to go about a particular market. I just talked about market sentiment, risk off and risk on market sentiment, right? There's central bank policies. When there is a central bank policy, right? If they are cutting rate, they're hiking rate, it changed market sentiment. So when you understand fundamental analysis, these are the key things you should focus on, right? If you can understand this and all of that, I tell you, trading fundamental analysis becomes sweet and easy. Now, what are the key takeaways? Fundamental analysis focuses on understanding the underlying forces driving a particular asset or price. You understand? So there's a reason why a market is going in a particular direction. It's not your chart. Your chart is not the reason why. Your tech analysis, your demand and supply, your ICT, your BTMM is not the reason. They are secondary. They react to what they react to the fundamental reason why price is moving in a particular direction. Then the other one is that it often considered more important for long-term decision making, while technical analysis is used for short-term trades, just for entry and exit. Yeah, the combining both provide a holistic view of the market where fundamental analysis helps identify bigger trend, right? Technical analysis helps you to execute trade at the right moment. That is it. Thank you. So, in essence, it's good as a trader combine technical and fundamental analysis. If you have not been paying attention to fundamental analysis, I tell you, you are missing a big time. It's one of the reasons, apart from psychology, it's one of the reasons why you're not doing it in the first market. Once you pay attention to technical analysis, to fundamental analysis, I tell you, you do well. If you want to join my trade community, you can contact me. You can contact me, comment in the comment section. Then I will tell you how to join my trade community where we do technical analysis. Then we post trades based on that, and we post set of signals and all of that. Then you can do well, to be part of it. And apart from that, you'll be learning fundamentals for yourself. Because no matter, see, there are more than 20,000 technical analysis strategy, but fundamental analysis is still fundamental analysis. And I tell you, 90% of retail traders, and they are not ready to learn fundamental analysis. That is why they are not being consistent. You understand? So when you trade fundamental analysis, it gives you an edge in the market, right? So fundamental analysis is key. So if you have not subscribed, like, subscribe and comment on the comment section, then follow my page, right? I would likely drop more videos on fundamental analysis and what you will know, what you can learn from fundamental analysis. Then you can also join my trade community too and get more insight into what we do. All right. Thank you. Good day.